Hello gainers, Ralphie here with some Fitter Philosophy, sharing the fitness from the philosophy to help you with yours. There's nothing like sharing experience. We're not waiting for experts, you understand. It's just ordinary folk, and there's billions of ordinary folk around the world who, through simple, passing conversations, can share so much empowerment to improve our individual lives. And it's not rocket science. Sure, we could buy the book, we could watch the documentary, we could even wait and see the movie at some point. But there's no need for that, because with the internet we can chat. I can talk to you and you can leave comments and subscribe if you enjoy and click like if you like. Anyway, on with the video. In my last video I talked about the importance of making time for ourselves, of taking the opportunity each day to set aside 15-20 minutes or half an hour or even an hour if we can afford the luxury of just enjoying our own company, doing our own thing in our own space in our own time, and reflecting on our lives. We're not going as far as being consciously mindful, and we're certainly not entering the realms of transcendental meditation. That's far more intense in a certain way. But we're just really focusing on something that's very simple, practical and easy to do, and all we need is a little bit of quiet and a little bit of lack of distraction. And that's one of the problems we face, and that's what I'm going to talk about now, is that we live in a world in which an awful lot of distraction is generated and imposed upon us from all directions, particularly from those in charge. And what they're hoping to do is keep us from being self-aware and rather communally aware, because we're much more manipulable and much more manageable when we are simply grazing with the herd. Their words, not mine. So I would highly recommend that you give some consideration to being aware of the white noise which is around us and switching it off. That white noise and this hiss and rumble, right? There's the rumble of traditional media, of the newspapers, television, films, all these different medias. In fact, I'd say actually probably one of the safest medias to go through is books, because there's so much option in books, and if you're looking for the truth, you'll find them in books. The secret of success is knowing where to look. Look for books. Start off by looking at books that are banned. When books are banned, and certain societies put a lot of energy into banning books, they're doing so for a reason. And the reason, obviously, we want to know why, because therein lies the answers. But that's another subject for another day. The censorship of books has gone on for millennia and will continue to do so. It's all part of the human condition. But the white noise that surrounds us, this rumble and hiss, we take it for granted, and that's the problem. We assume that it's normal because it's part and parcel of the age in which we live. And it's not until we move away from it that we realise just how invasive and aggressive it is. So when you come across some outdoor folk who go away camping at the weekend, that do a bit of hill climbing, that go and stay for a week or two in a remote island and have a complete, total, deep recharge, talk to these people. They're very interesting, because once you get past the superficial conversations of politeness and civility and observing the pleasantries, what you may find is that they've got some very profound experiences that they can share with you. Because once you start to turn off, first of all, the television, stop buying newspapers. I mean, newspapers in themselves are fairly harmless, but it's the people that manipulate the messages in newspapers. That's where the problem is, because it's in nobody's interest. It may claim that it's in some people's interest, but at the end of the day, the humanoid collective is exactly what it says on the tin, a collective. And that's the way the universe views the human condition. But this white noise and rumble, it doesn't seem much, but it's only when you stop and just give yourself a bit of time out that you really start to notice its impact and how distracting it can be. And the thing is, if we are distracted, if we buy into it, we're no longer living our own lives. We're living other people's versions, imposed versions of what they want us to think, to aspire to believe, to value, to endorse, to support. And at the end of the day, it's all about the money. It's nothing to do with people's well-being and health. We're masters of our own ship. We've got to look after the tiller on our own vessels. And if we don't, sooner or later we'll find ourselves on the rock, becoming somebody else's salvage booty. Somebody else's profit from our impoverishment. It's a fact, it still exists. There's two laws, you see. There's laws of the land and there's the laws of the sea, and there's two separate laws. In the law of the sea, if people abandon their boat, or if required rescuing, the boat, its contents, can become the property, legal property, of the rescuers, also known as the salvagers. This really hasn't changed much over the centuries. This goes back to the days when shipwrecking, deliberately luring ships onto rocks to break them up, to steal the cargo, and sometimes to kill the survivors on that ship. It was the way that communities all around Europe and coastal areas found a way not just to survive, but to get themselves a little bit of additional wealth. No matter in the immoralities of it. But there you go. Now you know. Not the sort of stuff we get taught at school. But I hope you found this useful. Just a brief chat about just being aware of the white noise and the rumble which is imposed upon us from the moment we are born, and we are automatically expected to accept it. And what I am suggesting to you is, don't accept all of it. Some of it we need to accept to function in the society around us. But there's an awful lot we don't need to accept. And the less that we accept it, the more we get to know ourselves and can live our lives on our own terms, and as a direct result, grow personally from that experience. I'm Ralphie. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'm going to leave you with a lovely view of a pier.